I'm going to start recording it. So I'm actually going to break you guys into groups because I can do these cool little breakout rooms. And so I'm going to randomly put you guys into groups, and I want you to discuss political socialization or so. Okay, so how many are there of you guys? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 6. Nice. So let's break. Okay. Oh wait. All right. Create rooms. And so, actually, can you guys just discuss what we have? Political socialization. You guys all good on that? Okay, cool. So I'm going to open up the rooms. Elizabeth.
Hi.
Okay, so I have everybody in breakout rooms right now.
Oh, okay.
And so they're going to be back in about 3 minutes. So
Okay.
do you want to go over to a new one, or do you want to just stay here?
I didn't hear you. What did you say? Sorry.
Do you want to be assigned to one of the rooms for the next 2 minutes, or do you want to just stay here?
I don't mind.
Okay. Are you with the readings?
They're all right. I mean, I mean, it would be good if we go over them.
Yeah, definitely. And then did you just do, I forgot, were you assigned to do political socialization, or were you doing public opinion?
The political socialization.
Okay. And did you understand what that concept is and everything?
Kinda, not sure.
Okay. Do you want to tell me what your understanding is of it?
I really don't know. I just kind of like it's like it involves all of us, like, you know, how we see like have different political views and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's basically how we're how our culture influences our political decisions and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's 6:12, so I'm going to bring them all back.
Okay.
Those all rooms. All right, so they should all be back in about 60 seconds. I should put my video back on. Welcome back. Now we wait for the rest. So, Trainer, was your work schedule switched around or something? Because I remember you said that you'd be available on like Wednesdays, not Mondays, but it seems like you're available on Mondays, not Wednesdays. But it looks like he's not hearing me, so whatever. Okay, so everybody is back. So now you guys got to talk to each other for a little bit. Who can tell me what political socialization is?
It's kind of like setting up, or somebody else want to say it?
Your first comment of the day.
All right, it's kind of like how the political process is shaped by like the status quo, or how like other people's, or like say a common example that I brought up earlier was, say if you're younger, you're gonna probably listen to the authority of your parents. So if your parents fall into one party, you're most likely gonna fall into that party as well until later on, especially in college.
You're breaking up.
Most people, you'll figure out something different based on UFI is right now. Do I?
So unfortunately, I'm pretty sure all of us missed most of what you said because your connection,
okay,
unfortunately, isn't too great.
Okay.
But did anyone catch on what he was talking about?
It's basically the learning, like basically you shape your views or your political views by what you see when you basically, sometimes it's by what you see in your community or you see in your household. So it's just like basically a definition would be learning process by which norms and behavior acceptable to a running political system are transmitted from one generation to another. So passing on your beliefs from parents to children.
Yeah, and so are your parents the only thing that socializes your political views?
No, it can be like schools too.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we think about it, like usually public schools, there's not really a one-sided, just for the same sake, kind of like religion. There's not a one-sided ever. But if say, for example, if I went to a Christian school, I'm sure I would not only have an opinion based on, like, for example, Christianity, if I went to a Christian school, but also they would shape some sort of opinion in me having to do with politics.
Yeah. And do your friends help with your political socialization?
Yep, them too.
Because they're the people that you're talking with about all of this stuff. Do you think geographical location affects your political socialization?
Yeah, and also I was reading part of the We the People. Gender has to do with it too, like men and women. You know, we view something different. You know, because girls naturally have an emotional side, and men are more masculine, more like brave. So like we don't like kind of war. They're all in for war, protecting our people. So I was kind of reading something like that.
Yeah, and that also goes back to how. So basically, it pertains on how we are nurtured as we grow up, and what influences us as we're in the world, basically. You guys all feel kind of comfortable with this concept?
Yep.
Okay. So, can somebody tell me what a liberal in America is?
Those who generally support social and political reform.
Yeah. And so just off the top of your head, what are like 3 things that kind of you think are important to be a liberal in America?
Welfare,
I'm sorry, what was that, Trainer?
Medicare,
Well,
welfare, Medicare, basically any social programs,
Social
education.
servicing.
social programs
Yeah,
social programs sponsored by the government.
government.
Yeah.
Mhm. Well, conservatives want all of these social programs to be privatized.
And they're more sketchy about the government.
Yeah, and so
Conservatives usually either want it
no,
they either want it.
go on.
I think he's getting us
They
late.
either want to take care of it either directly or non-directly. So a non-directive way of doing that would be like trying to cut taxes, which directly affects how much money is given to the welfare and social securities. So, and then directly would just be cutting money to social security, like boom, no more money.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But so basically, I'm just trying to give you guys kind of some a basic definition of the liberal view and the conservative view and how they differ. So liberals want a stronger government, so the government can create social programs. And then the Conservative Party, what would they want then if they're the opposite of the liberals?
Weak central government.
And for the government to like stay out of it as much as they can.
Yep. They want deregulation and privatization.
Yeah, because they think the government poses a threat to citizens' freedom.
No, not usually just that. It's just that it's less to pose a threat. It's more regulation that they don't like. It's not a threat to their freedom. It's more like regulation towards.
Oh, well, I got that out of the book, so.
No.
Mm-hmm. And then there's differing opinions within the Conservative Party and everything. So that's why right now we're just going with a basic definition.
Yep.
So if you guys were asked what the difference between a liberal and conservative was on a test, you guys feel comfortable answering that?
Yep.
But for now, it's yeah.
To an extent, yeah. If they're asking me to give them a reason, I have one reason. Yeah, one likes the government, one really doesn't.
Yeah, basically. And yeah,
Oh,
so
one federal government, not state government.
but yeah, they want less federal government, more state government and stuff like that. But that's another addition and stuff. So you guys feel comfortable moving on? Okay. So what are agents of socialization? We kind of mentioned a few.
So basically they're like families and schools that help shape individuals' basic political beliefs.
Mhm.
Social institutions as well.
Mhm. Basically, all the stuff that we listed as far as political socialization, because these are the agents of that political socialization. So I don't know. Do any of you guys want to share how maybe you got to your political socialization and everything? I'll share first how mine kind of went. Actually, in my family, my parents don't talk politics because they have opposing views. So politics is a no-no. What's ironic is that both my sister and I studied political science in our higher education and everything.
You guys are evil.
But actually, it was mostly because both of us were history nerds, and so we were like, oh, government's kind of like applied history and everything. So that's kind of where we went. And honestly, I would say my biggest socialization factor, as far as my political ideology, I would say would be the whole Prop 8 controversy, because that's kind of what got me interested in politics and everything, because Prop 8 was the proposition to ban gay marriage in California. And that was kind of the first real political debate that I kind of heard about or was interested in and everything. Especially because I was having questions about my own sexuality, and this was kind of happening in 8th grade and everything. And so it really got me thinking and everything. And it started me kind of more on the liberal democratic pathway and everything. But yeah, so that's kind of how my socialization came about. Does anybody want to share how they feel they were politically socialized? It's okay if you don't. This is purely sharing and everything. But I don't know. I'd like to hear how you guys got socialized, because it's interesting for me.
School. And my siblings, because my parents are, first generation, so like my parents know what's going on, but it's like they haven't had influence on me. I've shaped basically my own opinion from what I've seen or what I've heard and what my siblings believe and stuff like that.
Yeah. And it's kind of interesting to see, and also, I would definitely say that social media has helped socialize me. I probably wouldn't be as liberal as I am if I didn't have a big presence on Tumblr, to be honest. I got that social justice warrior in me. But yeah, I don't know. So just kind of a thing to think about. So can somebody tell me what the gender gap is?
That's what I was kind of saying, because that's a little bit where I read. It's like the definition would be the distinctive pattern of voting behavior reflecting the different views in women and men So the example that you used had to do with like military.
Mhm.
And so basically, like necessarily, I would say emotions kind of get involved in this, just the way we are, just because of our genders, but that's not 100% what shapes our opinions.
Mhm.
But having to be being men and women, we're just naturally different. We naturally think different. There's no really like anything to really back that up. It just is.
Yeah, and so and also that really goes into and how gender roles are socialized themselves, and that's why women are raised to be more emotional and everything and have more empathetic ties. And so because of this, there is a gender gap in opinions of things, specifically war. Okay, and so who can identify political ideology?
Son of a bitch. Are you kidding me? Freaking asshole. Political ideology. I'm gonna punch that guy in the face this morning. Hey, Colin, what's up? Hey, that's my class right now. Political ideology would be kind of like, what? Oh, oh, god damn it. Political ideology would be something that never mind. Sorry. I lost my train of thought. The freaking car alarm. I lose my shit.
It's okay. Does anybody want to assist?
Oh my god. I hate campus internet. Sorry, campus internet is really bad. God.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll say, it's a cohesive set of beliefs that forms a general philosophy about the role of the government.
Mm-hmm. So, what would an example of a political ideology be? We talked about two.
Religion.
No, liberalism
This relates to the fact.
Oh,
and
Okay.
conservatism.
I didn't know how to put that in my own words.
Yeah, it's okay.
So it's sort of like a.
So liberals and conservatives. That's basically what like a lot have to do with it.
So the ideology is what, as Camille said, how somebody thinks the government should act.
I want to write that down. I like to have stuff in my own words. How we think the government should act.
Mm-hmm.
So conservative liberals. / liberals.
And liberals and conservatives are just are only two possible political ideologies.
There's also libertarianism.
There's a whole spectrum of things.
Well, in the California's there's like 5 that are counted on the primaries.
Democratic and Republican.
Those are the two major parties, and then we have all of the third parties in between.
Which is these have to do with them, right?
Yeah, and the parties represent political ideologies.
Gotcha. Write that down too. Parties. So parties classify political ideology, basically?
Yeah, basically. Because conservative political ideology is within the conservative party, the Republican Party.
Gotcha.
So, does that make sense to everybody as far as what political ideology is?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Going to kill the school internet. It's so stupid.
All right, and so
It's because you're outside too. You should go inside a building.
yeah, being inside a building would help your internet.
Because when I go into the ARC, I have no problem.
Yep.
And we're like literally like this far away of computers. So like, you know, we also have a lot of, and then we're inside a computer area. So systems are running on the same one and we don't have a problem ever.
Exactly. And so the professor asked, how do government and interest groups shape? Actually, that's public opinion question. Never mind. So
Yeah, wasn't that like last week? Wait.
no, that's the next subject that we're going to go on to is public opinion.
Oh,
Yeah. So do you guys all feel comfortable with the political socialization concepts here?
yeah. That question, we basically answered it as we talked.
Mm-hmm. And do any of you want to go over the? There was only one article, right? The Benhart article. That's more so about millennial socialization and stuff like that. Did you guys want to go over that? Yeah. Okay.
Sure. Sorry.
All right. Let me pull up my study guide real quick, and because I have better questions on there. Yeah. So let me do that real quick. Content. Loading. Let's share the screen here. Okay. Gonna pull up Word real quick.
Whoa.
Let's go all the way down. Okay. So, what does the author say is the political outlook of millennials? Because the article is The Rise of the New Left. And it's an article about the millennials.
I think in general, the media, like you said, from political, like the political socialization, since we are students, I do have an understanding that most students lean towards the left. That's why there was an overwhelming support of Bernie Sanders in the regional primary runs for my students. There's a more focus on education because they have a higher understanding of their own money and stuff like that.
Well, so that's a good real world example, but what does the author say specifically?
I think that the author was trying to let the people know that people are disappropriately influenced by the events that occur in their late teens and mid-20s. That was like basically what the whole article was talking about.
Yeah. Did you guys hear what Lourdes just said?
Yep.
Okay. Can you repeat that then?
Yeah, he was saying that people are disappropriately influenced by events that occurred during their late teens and mid-20s.
Yeah. And what were a couple of those events that he talked about?
It was about Reagan and Clinton.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people were choosing sides, I guess, based on like what era they were born in. Like, some were baby boomers, some he categorized them, and like basically was just explaining who was like rooting for who specifically and why.
Yeah, because people that were in their early 20s and stuff like that during the Reagan administration are more likely to think that Reaganomics, which is the decreasing of taxes on big corporations, it would be the best economic decision. While people from the Clinton era would disagree with that because they were in a good economic situation, so they would disagree with giving tax breaks to corporations. Now, for example, us who experienced the 2008 recession in our late teens, early 20s, how do you think that's affected us?
Would be more similar to Reagan because of the fact that we did have the bank bailouts and having to give money to large corporations because of the fact that of the problems in '08 and stuff like that. And we'll probably be more like more, I can't think of the word, more we probably look at our money more because of the fact that that was such a large part of our early teen lives. The whole housing problem and everything, we probably try to not redo that as student debt and housing.
Yeah, so we prioritize economic issues because we experienced going without, and we experienced lower and less economic status. So we don't want to repeat that. And so we'll be looking harder at economic policies. And because our recession came because of the tax breaks and everything on the corporations, then we would, whatchamacallit, sorry, Camille, can you mute yourself?
Hmm?
Can you mute yourself? I think your dog is barking. Sorry, I'm just trying to get my train of thought back together. So because of our lower and less economic status, we all have a very similar view on how to deal with the economic situations because of our experiences. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So since we live the same experience, we all have kind of like the same
Economic output.
economic output.
Even if you're not from the same social class, it'll make sense. Have similar economic output.
Exactly. And so another commonality that millennials have was ethnic diversity. And so how did the author say that affected our political socialization? Lourdes, I know you read the article and everything. Do you remember how our commonalities of having ethnic diversity as millennials changed our political outlook?
I remember parts of it. The author talked about like their views such on like culture and diversity, saying that millennials who were basically American, who were in their late I think it was like their early 30s, and they were straight American, like U.S. born. They had like different views compared to like 30-year-old Americans, based on like what they thought of gay rights and being married to like a different culture, a different ethnicity, that sort of thing. Is that what you're asking about?
Yeah, and so because we had those things, how did that change what our political outlook is?
I guess it was basically off like what era they were born in, because I mean 50-year-olds had way different thoughts in certain subjects compared to like 30-year-olds.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to the culture versus polity argument and everything.
Yeah.
And so our culture is created through common experiences, coming of age, and our culture is created through the ethnic diversity that we have. And so by having that, we are more liberal when it comes to those issues because we have experienced it instead of it just being the other over here on the other, like on the side and everything. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you guys feel comfortable with the point of this article?
Yep. Sorry if it couldn't be more spot on.
It's the same thing, but it just gives a scenario.
Exactly.
That's what I've been catching on about the readings. It's the same thing we're reading, but it's just a scenario.
Yep, exactly. That's what the articles are there for. They're just there to give you examples and real-life scenarios.
Okay.
Okay, so let's move on to the public opinion. And so, can somebody tell me what public opinion polls are?
They're
Scientific.
Oh, go ahead.
I always talk. Go ahead.
Yeah, have Angelina talk.
Scientific instruments for measuring public opinion.
Yeah. And so basically they're just questions to figure out what the public is thinking. So we have public opinion polls for just about everything. What do you think of Hillary? What do you think of dogs? What do you think of gay marriage?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and so what is a random sample?
Basically shotgunning the populace, just taking it, not caring of what their background is. Kind of like those polls people do, like surveys out on the street.
So I can't hear you because you're far away from your microphone.
Sorry.
He said something about something on the street.
I said it's like taking a shotgun and it's like shotgunning it, just random people. You know how some people just take surveys in front of like Safeways and stuff like that? It's kind of like that.
And what's required for a random sample?
Nothing. It's just everyone off the street, really.
That's where you're wrong.
You need some kind of education. I don't know. Sorry.
You actually for a random sample size, a random sample to be a quality random sample, it has to be from 1,500 people.
Oh, okay.
What?
For a random sample to be accurate, it needs to have 1,500 people participate in it.
So it's just like another way of like questionnaire.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, and so random sampling is what gives legitimacy to the public opinion polls.
Okay.
Because they're pulling a random sample of people.
So basically give credibility to public opinion polls.
Yeah.
They give ethos to public opinion.
It gives ethos to the public opinion polls. Literacy.
In the textbook, it's labeled as simple random sample or probability sample. Is that the same thing?
I think so. What does it say exactly?
It says a method used by pollsters to select a representative sample in which every individual in the population has an equal probability of being selected as a respondent.
Yeah, that's the random sample.
Okay.
Because that's what I'm talking about the 1,500 number. Because that's what's required to actually have the possibility of reaching all of those demographics.
Okay.
And it's interesting because that's the sample size from small districts to nationwide, and it's still applicable.
Oh, that's kind of weird.
Yeah, but it's actually because if you get more than 1,500 people, then you just end up with kind of just doubling your results rather than anything actually changing. So 1,500 is the prime number.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. It's like, what if your city's like smaller than that?
Yeah.
Sometimes they're small towns.
But there's usually 1,500 people or so, if at the least. Okay, so what is selection bias? I know they gave some examples in the textbook. I think Obama was used.
Because he's Muslim. Because Obama's Muslim, if you have free bias on Muslims, you're gonna use it on him. It's like he can't be a president. He can't be a good president because of religion.
Kind of. But how do you think it would be applied to polls and selection?
Was it like the way they worded like questions that they asked?
Yeah, exactly. It's the way that the questions are worded. And if it's worded in a certain way, then a voter might be more likely to choose that answer over another because of the way that it's worded. So it's like having, like, you're asked a question and it's obviously not objective. It obviously has kind of a spin to it. And those kind of questions encourage selection bias. So, for example, a good poll would be, do you think red is a good color? Yes or no. A bad poll would be, do you think red, the color of blood, is good or bad? That obviously has a negative connotation to it. And so people would be more likely to say no because they're associating red with blood. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And then like a positive way would be like, oh, red, the color of poppies. Yeah, good color or no. Does that make sense for everybody as far as size goes? You seem a little fuzzy, Betty?
No, I'm saying like the way so basically the way the question is worded shapes your answer or opinion.
Because of the way because of the words that are used in the sentence and the associations that they bring.
Because of the association of words.
And can somebody describe what push pulls are?
A polling technique in which the questions are designed to shape the correspondence opinion?
Yeah, exactly. And so push polls play on selection bias as to get the answer that they want.
Can you start over? You lagged.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So push polls are push polls use selection bias to get the results that they want, so that their statement is what you call it, has more evidence, stuff like that, even though it's technically false evidence because it was definitely a push poll.
So polling technique in which they use selection bias so that they have more, oh my God, you just said it. More evidence?
Yeah, more evidence to support their opinion.
There we go.
So push polls are pushing for a certain result.
Oh, gotcha.
And
Like a fixed ticket, where it's like it's not really, shouldn't that not be legal? Because you're not getting a good. It's kind of like a kangaroo court, where it just doesn't matter whose opinion it is. You're adjusting it for your point of view.
yeah, so that's why push polls aren't really considered as legitimate polls because they're obviously skewed. So that's something to look out for when looking at polls.
So it's kind of like looking at like the Huffington Post instead of looking at the Wall Street Journal. The Huffington Post would be kind of like a push poll.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would. It'd be more like MSNBC versus ABC.
Okay.
Kind of thing.
Good morning, America.
So the part where it says how polls may go wrong, you apply the whole push pull scenario.
Yeah, push pull scenario and talk about incorrect sample size number.
Push pull.
And that's something that I want you guys to look at whenever you look at any sort of polling on any sort of like article, where it's like, oh, we did a poll and we got this result and everything. Look to see what their sample size is. And that determines if it is accurate or not.
I don't know if you've realized the time.
Oh yeah, no, I realize the time. And so if any of you need to leave, feel free to. But I just wanted to answer all of your guys' questions.
Okay.
And everything. I'm kind of sad that we didn't get to the articles for public opinion. But how do you guys feel about both of these subjects?
Good.
Yeah? Yeah? Okay.
I mean, we're millennials, right? We're supposed to be really good at social media and political socialization anyway. That's where in this Govt, right?
Should be. But so you guys all good? Do you have any other questions that you want to go over before I end the session?
Not really. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, if everybody's content, then I'll stop the session then. Okay. I will see you all on Tuesday or Wednesday. Bye.